Hello, dear viewers. I am a global nationalist. I support nationalism in my country, India, and in all countries around the globe. Today, I'm going to India and about the BJP and how they are growing and how I think that they can grow in the future. I'm going to talk about today about the BJP and how it can grow. I'll talking about this because while the BJP has got domination in the North India, West India, and Central India, it still needs to grow in Eastern and Southern India. And I want to discuss how that can happen. We should look at that, and I think that it will be good for India if the BJP grows. But I'll talk about that later. Before I go further, I just want to give a disclaimer. That's what's called, that I am not a member of the BJP. I have not given or received any money from them, and this is not an endorsement of the BJP. I'm just giving my opinion about them. I do support them, but I'm not asking anyone who's watching this video to vote for them. Like, that's your business. I'm not going to talk about, just give my opinion. Let's start off with the Northeast. This is a speech that Amit Shah gave in May. He said that across the 8 states of Northeast India, there is a government of the Northeast Democratic Alliance. Now, what is this alliance? In 2016, it was created to protect the interests of the people of the region by uniting all non-Congress parties in Northeast India. This is what the number of parties. There are 12 parties and one independent. The BJP has the most number of MPs and MLAs, and yeah, it's in power in several states. Here we can see that uh, the BJP is in dark saffron, and coalition with BJP is a light orange color. The BJP is in power in about 3 Northeast states, and it's in a coalition, but in power in 2 of them, and in one state it is an opposition party that's in power. So I think the main goal for the BJP in the Northeast in the coming elections, the state elections, is to win Mizoram. And as far as the coalition parties go, I think that it should maintain its alliance, but should try to get more seats in the elections. It should aim to, like, before the elections happen, it should form an agreement with these parties that it should be the fighting the most number of seats. That way, if they win, a BJP government will be in power in both the center and the state, and it'll be easier for them to implement policies in these states. So that's the second goal for the BJP in the Northeast. First is to win Mizoram, and the second is to form its own governments. This will make the entire Northeast saffron stronghold, and will help them in completely stopping infiltration from Bangladesh into the Northeast. Amit Shah has spoken about that in this speech. He said that the government is trying to stop cross-border influx both in Assam and West Bengal, and that says there is no cooperation with West Bengal, but that Assam is standing rock solid behind the center in dealing with the influx. So this shows the importance of having the same party in power in both the state and the center, especially border states. And I also want to talk about the south. Here is a Tamil Nadu legislative election last year. Now it was fought between the alliance of the SPA, the uh, secular. I'm not sure what the P stands for, but A stands for alliance. Let me just check. Um, Secular Progressive Alliance, and the NDA is the National Democratic Alliance. So, yeah, the SPA won, got 159 seats, and the NDA got only 75. So, this was a change in government from the ADMK, which was ruling, to the DMK. This it was expected, and I'm not, while I don't support the DMK. I would have preferred for the ADMK to win, but I think this is still a good change because the ADMK during its second term towards the end, especially after Honorable late Chief Minister J. Lalita passed away, the ADMK as a ruling party became sluggish and incompetent and was not really implementing policies properly. So it was good that it changed. And I think it'll be good if the ADMK as a party dissolves, which might happen because if the BJP becomes a larger party in the alliance. I think the BJP should become the main opposition party for the DMK because it has a different ideology to the DMK and can present the voters of Tamil Nadu with their actual choice. And I think it's the right choice. It will help defeat this ideology of Dravidanism, which has made the Tamil Nadu people feel isolated and alienated from the rest of the country. Made them think that they are a separate culture, separate nation, which is not true. While each state in India has its own culture, its own traditions, they are still fundamentally part of the same broader civilization of India, and that is what Hindu nationalism advocates. And only the BJP can give that ideology to the people of Tamil Nadu. And so while the BJP only got 4 seats in this election, it was still a growth from the previous state assembly election where where it got 0 seats. Then we can now to see what might happen in the next election, next state assembly election, or even the next Lok Sabha election in Tamil Nadu. We should see what's happened in the local body elections. The BJP contested seat share in the urban local bodies polls rose by a marginal 0.7% points in 2022 as compared to 2011. And this was mainly because of the victories in the Kanyakumari district, where it won 200 wards across all segments of the total 308 wards it secured. This uh, might not seem much, but if you think about how in 2011, how from to 2022, how they've grown, you can see why it's significant because it had a seat share of 2.2% in town panchayats, which rose to 3.01% in 2022. In municipalities, its seat share was 1% in 2011, and it has increased marginally to 1.45%. The party's seat share also increased from 0.5% in 2011 to 1.67% in corporation wards in 2022. So yeah, there's a growth in all of the different urban wards, which is great for BJP. That fact that it's now has a 2.4% seat share, shows that there is enthusiasm growing, but it has to do much, much more to become the main opposition party. And Yeah, significantly, Tamil Nadu is in as ruled by an alliance where with the Congress Party is in power. So in this Lok Sabha election, if the BJP does not focus on increasing its seat share in Tamil Nadu, Congress might pick up some seats here, which could increase its share. So that would just, while it won't help it win, because there's now no chance at all for Congress winning in 2024 elections, it could still make it a bit more difficult for BJP to have control over Tamil Nadu. But if BJP can increase its seat share, then it can have more constituencies under it and can be uh, it can more easily implement its policies in Tamil Nadu. And yeah, and it can also weaken the DMK, which recently has been giving out separatist talks about big, becoming a separate Tamil Nadu nation. And so it's a bit of a dangerous party with a dangerous ideology, so it must be weakened and defeated. So if the BJP can do better in next Lok Sabha election in Tamil Nadu, the DMK will and Congress will suffer, which will be good. And then eventually, maybe in 2029, in those Lok Sabha elections, BJP can completely defeat the DMK. Because by then, I don't think Congress would be in co-alliance with the DMK. I think the DMK would have dropped them by then. So basically, we can see that for this is the party-wise representation of members, and we can see that BJP has a clear majority, but it's not an overwhelming majority. The opposition still has some presence, and this is more significant in the Rajya Sabha, where the BJP, while the largest party, does not have a majority in the Rajya Sabha, and this has made it difficult for it to pass bills in Parliament. So if BJP can increase its vote seat share in the uh, Lok Sabha, it can do this by gaining seats in states like uh, Northeast, Manipur, Mizoram, Tripura, then and also in Tamil Nadu, where 39 seats, West Bengal, and yeah, so this can all help. West Bengal is significant because it got 18 seats in the last Lok Sabha elections, but in the 2021 state assembly elections, it's got 77 seats, which was a great improvement. But unfortunately, many of its party members left the BJP and joined the TMC, and there was also violence against BJP workers by TMC workers after the election. So I think that will hurt the BJP, and maybe they might lose some seats in West Bengal. But I hope not. I hope that they can continue to grow and at least have more than 10 seats. That would be good enough for them to then they can make up for that by getting all the seats in the north states and increasing its seat share in Tamil Nadu, Kerala, and other south states, especially in places like Telangana, where it has a presence. Then in the Rajya Sabha, but if it can get seats if it gets basically Rajya Sabha seats are people are elected to them by from their state assemblies. So the more states a party wins, the more seats it gets in the Rajya Sabha. So if the BJP can win states where it's not in power, like Jharkhand and Mizoram and uh, um, and Chhattisgarh, then they can get. So yeah, that's what I think the BJP should be working on, increasing its seats in Tamil Nadu and the Northeast, and making sure its losses in West Bengal are not too great. And also, I talked about Kerala and other Congress ruled states like Jharkhand and Chhattisgarh. Uh, Jharkhand and Chhattisgarh are ruled by Congress in a where Jharkhand is an alliance and Chhattisgarh Congress rules it directly, and in Rajasthan, Congress rules Rajasthan directly. And unfortunately, we've seen that it's not been able to handle religious issues properly because of the beheading of Kanhaiya Lal. So the Congress has to be defeated in Rajasthan and Chhattisgarh. That would make turn the Congress almost into a small regional party where it's only in power in coalition in two states. Then the BJP won't be distracted by them and able to focus on governance. And basically, the Congress has to be destroyed. Congress Mukt Bharat must happen. So yeah, that's what I want for politically in India. If you agree with me or you disagree with me, please say so in the comments. And I just want to end this video by wishing good luck to my country, India. If you like that, want to see other videos on nationalism, if you want to see my previous video, click here. If you want to see the sources I used for this video, click the links in the description below. Thank you for watching. Vande Mataram.